Imagine a company that's so big, it's practically the ghostwriter for the global car industry. We're talking about a $43 billion giant. On paper, they look like an unstoppable tank. But here's the kicker. We found a hole in their pocket the size of a crater. Today, we're peeling back the curtain on Hyundai Mobis. Is this a tech revolution or a financial tightrope walk? Let's find out. Let's talk numbers, but not the boring kind. Mobis just raked in $43 billion in revenue. To put that in perspective, that's enough money to buy every single person in London a high-end MacBook Pro and still have change for coffee. They grew by nearly 7% while the rest of the EV world was sweating. They aren't just selling parts, they are colonizing the North American market. Now here is where it gets weird. Think of Mobis like a massive restaurant. One half of the kitchen, the module and parts side, is cooking gourmet meals for millions of people, but they're barely charging enough to cover the salt. That's 78% of their business, and it's basically a non-profit charity for their parent company. The real secret sauce? It's the AS business, the spare parts. It's small, but it's the only reason the lights are still on. If you look at their report card, you'll see the grades are going up. Their profit margins, basically the slice of the pizza they actually get to keep, is creeping back up to 5.5%. It's not a jackpot yet, but the trend is their friend. However, the net profit took a hit. Why? Because breaking up with old business lines is expensive, and Mobis is currently cleaning out its closet. Mobis has a parents problem. Over 75% of their allowance comes from Hyundai and Kia. That's great for job security, but it's like living in your parents' basement at age 40. You don't get to set the rules. To truly grow up, they need to win over the neighbors: Volkswagen, Mercedes, and Stellantis. The goal? Break free and become the world's favorite freelancer. People ask, are they going broke? Far from it. Their debt-to-asset ratio is 30%. In plain English, for every dollar they own, they only owe 30 cents. Most of us wish our credit cards looked that good. They are sitting on a $50 billion mountain of assets. This isn't just a safety net, it's a war chest for when they decide to go shopping for a robotics company or a new chip lab. How much grain do they have in the barn? Their operations generated over $3 billion in cash last year. They're spending about $1 billion a year to build new factories. This means they can afford to build 3 new factories for every one they actually start. They aren't borrowing from the future, they are building it with cash they already have in their pocket. They are making some bold moves. Mobis is effectively ghosting their underperforming factories in China and moving all their luggage to Alabama. Why? Because that's where the EV subsidies are. It's a massive global realignment. They aren't just following the cars, they are following the money. Here is the cold, hard truth. In Korea, their factories are humming at 89% capacity. That's a well-oiled machine. But overseas, only 61%. That's like paying for a 5-bedroom house but only living in 2 rooms. If they can't fill those empty rooms in 2026, all that shiny new machinery in Alabama is just going to be a very expensive collection of paperweights. How do they stack up against the cool kids like Denso or Bosch? They are actually beating the Europeans on margins right now. Bosch and Continental are struggling to keep their heads above water, while Mobis is cruising. But the gold standard is still Denso. Mobis is currently the silver medalist, looking for a way to take the gold. Remember that living in the basement analogy? Well, they just got a massive contract from Volkswagen. $9.2 billion in new orders from outside the family. This is the wow factor. When the Germans, who are the pickiest engineers on earth, start buying your battery systems, you know you're doing something right. Mobis is undergoing a brain transplant. They are spending over $1 billion a year to stop being a hardware company and start being a software company. We're talking about level 4 self-driving and robots that can move with the precision of a surgeon. They are building the operating system for your next car. Imagine your car's windshield turning into a giant movie screen or a 3D navigation map. That's what Mobis is building with Zeiss. It's a holographic HUD. No more looking down at your phone. The data is literally floating in the air in front of you. This isn't just a gadget. It's the future of how we interact with machines. Finally, let's talk about the planet. Mobis has promised to be net zero by 2045. They are dumping their old hydrogen tech to go all in on batteries. Plus, they are actually giving money back to shareholders, nearly $400 million in dividends. They want to be the green giant that also makes you rich. So what's the final verdict? Mobis has the cash, they have the tech, and they have the orders. The only thing standing in their way is efficiency. If they can turn those empty factories into profit centers, they aren't just a supplier. They are the new kings of the road. But keep an eye on that Alabama ramp-up. That's where the game will be won or lost. If you want the full, unredacted page report on the automotive supply chain, head over to HDIN Research. We do the digging, so you don't have to. Shoot us an email or visit our site. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell us, would you trust a car with a holographic windshield? See you in the next one.